The studio lights beamed down with calculated warmth, illuminating the sleek glass desk and the two women seated across from each other. It was meant to be a moderated discussion, one of many the network had arranged between political figures and cultural icons. This time, the pair was particularly unexpected. Karoline Leavitt, the bold conservative firebrand making waves in the political scene, and Zendaya, the globally adored actress, activist, and Gen Z voice of empowerment. The show, titled Bridging the Divide, had a simple premise: civil discourse across ideological lines. But as cameras rolled and viewers across the country tuned in, it became clear that tonight's broadcast would be anything but simple. Caroline sat poised in a sharp navy blazer, her iconic cross necklace resting just above the neckline. She radiated the confidence of someone used to standing her ground. Zendaya, dressed in a minimalist cream ensemble with delicate gold jewelry, matched her poise with a calm intensity in her gaze. "Caroline," the moderator began, "you've recently spoken out against what you call celebrity activism. Zendaya, you've been an outspoken advocate for various causes. Let's start there." Caroline didn't hesitate. "Look, I respect anyone using their platform for good," she said, her voice crisp. "But when Hollywood stars start lecturing the public on policies they don't fully understand, it stops being advocacy and starts being manipulation." Zendaya blinked once. "That's a bold statement," she said calmly. "You're assuming we don't understand. I don't speak on things I haven't studied. Maybe the problem isn't that we're speaking, but that some people don't like what we have to say." The tension was palpable. The moderator quickly interjected, but the spark had been lit. What began as a conversation was shifting, turning into something much deeper, much more personal. And the night was just beginning. The air in the studio had grown heavier, charged with a kind of energy that producers love but moderators dread. The live audience was silent, eyes fixed on the two women. Caroline's fingers tapped lightly on the desk, barely perceptible, but Zendaya noticed. It was the signal of someone ready to go to battle. "I think what people forget," Caroline continued, adjusting her microphone, "is that there's a difference between having influence and being informed. You have influence. No one's denying that. But influence without accountability can be dangerous." Zendaya tilted her head slightly, the corners of her mouth twitching. Was it amusement or disbelief? "And you think politicians always act with accountability?" she replied, her tone sharp but controlled. "You're in a position of power, too. Does that mean everything you say is infallible?" Caroline leaned forward, her voice gaining force. "I'm held accountable every day. By voters, by the press, by people who challenge me. Celebrities can go silent after a controversy. We don't get that luxury." Zendaya's smile disappeared. "Right. But when people like me do speak up, we get called out for overstepping. Maybe what you really want is for people like me to stay in our lane." The audience murmured. A few audible gasps. The moderator held up a hand, as if to say, "Let's not lose control." But the conversation was already slipping out of its neat, pre-approved boundaries. Caroline didn't flinch. "I want truth. I want facts, not curated Instagram posts with links to merch." That one landed. Hard. Zendaya's expression hardened, and for the first time, her voice cracked with real emotion. "You think I do this for merch? For attention? Do you know how many death threats I've gotten for speaking up? Do you know what it's like to have your words twisted until you barely recognize them?" Carolina hesitated, just for a second. Enough for Zendaya to notice. "I'm not afraid of uncomfortable conversations," Zendaya said, sitting back. but don't confuse your discomfort with my ignorance. The moderator jumped in again. Ladies, let's reset. This is about understanding, not attack. But it was too late for a reset. This wasn't just a debate anymore. This was personal. And the nation was watching. The studio's atmosphere had shifted from tense to electric. Viewers across the nation were glued to their screens, witnessing a collision of ideologies unfold in real time. Social media platforms buzzed with hashtags like Sachius, Zendaya vs. Leavitt, and Saani Live Debate Showdown, as snippets of the exchange went viral. Zendaya leaned slightly forward, her eyes locked onto Karoline's. "You speak of accountability," she began, her voice measured yet firm. "But accountability isn't exclusive to politicians. Artists, actors, we face public scrutiny daily. Our platforms come with responsibility, and many of us take that seriously. We research, we engage, we strive to shed light on issues that matter. Dismissing our efforts as mere performance undermines the genuine intent behind them." Karoline's lips pressed into a thin line. "Intent doesn't always equate to impact," she countered. "While your intentions might be noble, the execution can sometimes mislead or oversimplify complex issues. Policymaking isn't as straightforward as a tweet or a soundbite. It requires depth, nuance, and an understanding that goes beyond surface-level activism." The moderator interjected, attempting to steer the conversation back to common ground. "Both of you are influential figures in your respective fields," he said. "Is there a way you believe entertainment and politics can collaborate to foster a more informed and engaged public?" Zendaya took a deep breath, considering the question. "Absolutely," she replied. "Storytelling has the power to humanize policy, to bring statistics and laws to life through personal narratives. If policymakers and artists collaborated more, we could bridge the gap between legislation and lived experiences, making issues more relatable and understandable to the general public." Karoline nodded slowly, acknowledging the point. "I agree that narratives are powerful," she admitted. "However, it's crucial that these stories are grounded in fact and don't distort reality for the sake of drama or engagement. We must ensure that in our quest to inform, we don't inadvertently misinform." The conversation continued, oscillating between contention and consensus. Both women stood their ground, yet moments of mutual understanding began to emerge. The audience, both in the studio and at home, witnessed not just a debate, but a demonstration of two individuals striving to find commonality amidst their differences. As the broadcast approached its conclusion, the moderator posed a final question. "In one sentence, what message would you like to leave with our viewers tonight?" Zendaya spoke first. "Engage critically, listen actively, and remember that every voice has value." Karoline followed. "Seek understanding beyond headlines and approach every dialogue with both conviction and openness." The broadcast ended, but the discussions it sparked were only beginning. The studio's atmosphere had shifted from merely tense to palpably electric. Viewers across the nation were glued to their screens, witnessing a collision of ideologies unfold in real time. Social media platforms buzzed with hashtags like Zendaya vs. Leavitt and Live Debate Showdown, as snippets of the exchange went viral. Zendaya leaned slightly forward, her eyes locked onto Karoline's. "You speak of accountability," she began, her voice measured yet firm. "But accountability isn't exclusive to politicians. Artists, actors, we face public scrutiny daily. Our platforms come with responsibility, and many of us take that seriously. We research, we engage, we strive to shed light on issues that matter. Dismissing our efforts as mere performance undermines the genuine intent behind them. Karoline's lips pressed into a thin line. Intent doesn't always equate to impact, she countered. While your intentions might be noble, the execution can sometimes mislead or oversimplify complex issues. Policymaking isn't as straightforward as a tweet or a soundbite. It requires depth, nuance, and an understanding that goes beyond surface-level activism. The moderator interjected, attempting to steer the conversation back to common ground. Both of you are influential figures in your respective fields, he said. Is there a way you believe entertainment and politics can collaborate to foster a more informed and engaged public? Zendaya took a deep breath, considering the question. Absolutely, she replied. Storytelling has the power to humanize policy, to bring statistics and laws to life through personal narratives. If policymakers and artists collaborated more, we could bridge the gap between legislation and lived experiences, making issues more relatable and understandable to the general public. Karoline nodded slowly, acknowledging the point. I agree that narratives are powerful, she admitted. However, it's crucial that these stories are grounded in fact and don't distort reality for the sake of drama or engagement. We must ensure that in our quest to inform, we don't inadvertently misinform. The conversation continued, oscillating between contention and consensus. Both women stood their ground, yet moments of mutual understanding began to emerge. The audience, both in the studio and at home, witnessed not just a debate, but a demonstration of two individuals striving to find commonality amidst their differences. As the broadcast approached its conclusion, the moderator posed a final question. In one sentence, what message would you like to leave with our viewers tonight? Zendaya spoke first. Engage critically, listen actively, and remember that every voice has value. Karoline followed. Seek understanding beyond headlines and approach every dialogue with both conviction and openness. The broadcast ended, but the discussions it sparked were only beginning. The live broadcast had ended, but its reverberations were just beginning. As the studio lights dimmed, Zendaya and Karoline Leavitt exchanged a brief, acknowledging nod before retreating to their respective corners. The air was still thick with the intensity of their exchange. Backstage, Zendaya's team buzzed around her, smartphones in hand, displaying the immediate online reactions. Twitter was ablaze with hashtags like Your Zendaya Speaks Truth and How Leavitt TV Zendaya, each trending with thousands of mentions. Instagram stories and TikTok videos dissected every moment of the debate, from Zendaya's poised rebuttals to Karoline's unwavering assertions. You really struck a chord, her manager remarked, scrolling through the flood of supportive comments. People are rallying behind your call for authentic activism. Zendaya nodded, a contemplative expression on her face. It's encouraging, she admitted, but I wonder if the message will resonate beyond the echo chambers. Meanwhile, in a separate green room, Karoline faced a similar whirlwind. Her aides presented her with analytics showcasing a surge in her follower count and an outpouring of support from conservative circles. Pundits praised her for standing firm and articulating her points with clarity. You held your ground exceptionally well, one advisor commented. This will undoubtedly bolster your standing among our base. Karoline offered a tight-lipped smile. Engagement is good, she replied, but I hope it prompts genuine reflection rather than deepening divides. As the night progressed, media outlets released instant polls gauging public opinion on the debate. The results were predictably split, reflecting the nation's polarized landscape. However, amidst the division, a common sentiment emerged. A call for more dialogues that, while challenging, pushed boundaries and encouraged critical thinking. In the days that followed, both women found themselves at the center of numerous think pieces and op-eds. Some lauded the debate as a pivotal moment in bridging cultural and political gaps, while others critiqued it as emblematic of the entrenched divisions within society. Despite the varying interpretations, one thing was clear. The conversation ignited on that stage had sparked a national discourse, compelling individuals from all walks of life to confront their biases, question their beliefs, and, perhaps, find common ground in unexpected places. The aftermath of the live broadcast had left both Zendaya and Karoline Leavitt at the center of national discourse. While their exchange highlighted deep divisions, it also sparked conversations about the potential for understanding across ideological lines. Recognizing the opportunity to turn their public confrontation into a constructive dialogue, Zendaya reached out to Karoline with a proposal to co-host a series of community forums aimed at fostering open discussions between individuals of differing perspectives. The initiative, titled Common Ground Conversations, sought to demonstrate that despite disagreements, mutual respect and understanding were attainable. Karoline, after careful consideration, agreed. The first forum was held in a neutral venue, a community center in a diverse neighborhood. The room was filled with individuals from various backgrounds, eager to witness and participate in this unprecedented collaboration. Zendaya opened the session with a heartfelt acknowledgement of the challenges ahead. "We come from different worlds," she began, "but today we're here to listen, to learn, and to find the humanity in each other's stories." Karoline followed, emphasizing the importance of civil discourse. "Our nation thrives when we engage in conversations that challenge us," she said. "It's through these dialogues that we grow stronger together." The forum featured personal stories from attendees, shared experiences, and candid discussions about the issues dividing them. Zendaya and Karoline facilitated, ensuring that every voice was heard and that the space remained respectful. As the series progressed, media coverage shifted from highlighting their initial conflict to showcasing their collaborative efforts. The Common Ground Conversations became a symbol of hope, illustrating that even in a polarized society, bridges could be built through empathy and dialogue. Through this journey, both women discovered that while their beliefs might differ, their commitment to fostering understanding and unity was a shared value that transcended politics and culture. The Common Ground Conversations initiative had begun to resonate nationwide, inspiring communities to host their own dialogues aimed at bridging ideological divides. Zendaya and Karoline Leavitt found themselves at the forefront of a burgeoning movement, demonstrating that respectful discourse could pave the way for mutual understanding. During one particularly well-attended forum in Chicago, a young woman named Maya stood up to share her story. A college student passionate about social justice, Maya expressed her initial skepticism about the initiative. "I honestly didn't believe that someone like me could find common ground with someone who holds opposing political views," she admitted. "But being here, listening, and engaging in these conversations has opened my eyes to the humanity behind differing opinions." Karoline responded with empathy, acknowledging Maya's feelings. "It's natural to feel hesitant," she said. "But when we take the time to listen and understand each other's perspectives, we often find that our core values align more than we initially thought." Zendaya added, "It's about recognizing that while we may have different approaches, our end goals, justice, equality, prosperity, are often the same. It's the path to get there where we diverge, and that's where dialogue becomes crucial." As the forums continued, both women began to reflect on their personal journeys. Zendaya realized that her activism could be enriched by understanding the complexities of policymaking, while Karoline acknowledged the power of storytelling in shaping public perception and policy. One evening, after a particularly intense discussion, Karoline approached Zendaya. "I have to admit," she began, "when we first met on that panel, I had preconceived notions about you and your motivations. But through this process, I've come to respect and appreciate your perspective." Zendaya smiled warmly. "The feeling is mutual," she replied. "I've learned that engaging with those who challenge our views doesn't weaken our beliefs. It strengthens our understanding and empathy." Their collaboration had evolved from a public confrontation to a partnership rooted in mutual respect and a shared commitment to fostering unity. Together, they exemplified that even in a polarized society, individuals could come together to bridge divides and build a more cohesive and understanding community. The Common Ground Conversations initiative had blossomed into a nationwide movement, inspiring countless communities to engage in open dialogues aimed at bridging ideological divides. Zendaya and Karoline Leavitt, once seen as representatives of opposing worlds, had become symbols of the transformative power of respectful discourse. As the series of forums continued, stories emerged of individuals who, despite differing beliefs, found commonality through shared experiences. In one such forum, a retired coal miner from West Virginia and a young environmental activist from California discovered a mutual passion for preserving natural landscapes, leading them to collaborate on local conservation projects. Recognizing the impact of their efforts, educational institutions began incorporating the principles of the Common Ground Conversations into their curricula, teaching students the value of empathy, active listening, and critical thinking. Media outlets, too, shifted their narratives, highlighting stories of unity and cooperation over division and conflict. Zendaya and Karoline's partnership extended beyond the forums. They co-authored a book detailing their journey from confrontation to collaboration, offering insights and practical guidance on navigating challenging conversations. The book became a bestseller, further cementing their influence and the importance of their message. In a culminating event held at the National Mall in Washington, D.C., thousands gathered to celebrate the progress made and to reaffirm their commitment to fostering understanding. Standing together on stage, Zendaya addressed the crowd. "This journey has shown us that while our perspectives may differ, our humanity unites us. It's through open hearts and open minds that we pave the path toward a more compassionate world." Karoline added, "Our collaboration is a testament to what's possible when we choose dialogue over division. Let this be a reminder that our shared values are stronger than our differences." As the sun set over the assembled crowd, there was a palpable sense of hope, a belief that, despite the challenges ahead, the foundation had been laid for a more united and understanding society. The legacy of Zendaya and Karoline's journey served as a beacon, illuminating the path forward for generations to come. Dear viewers, tonight we witnessed a profound and sincere discussion between two influential figures with differing perspectives, Zendaya and Karoline Leavitt. Despite their differences, they demonstrated that mutual respect and understanding are achievable. This dialogue underscored the importance of building bridges and finding common ground within our society. Let us remember that our diversity is our strength, and true progress is made through listening to and understanding one another. We hope this meaningful conversation has inspired you and will lead to more constructive dialogues in the future. Thank you for your participation and interest. Good evening